When Karen Holloway went to prison, the neighborhood exhaled. For years, she had been the loudest voice on Maple Crescent, the woman who treated the block like her personal kingdom. She filed complaints over mailbox colors, threatened lawsuits over lawn heights, and once tried to fine a widower because his trash can was emotionally depressing. People learned to avoid her driveway, cross the street when she came out with her clipboard, and keep their blinds shut when her porch light flicked on at night. So, when the police cars finally pulled up and she was led away in handcuffs for fraud, identity theft, and embezzling HOA funds, the street felt lighter, quieter, kinder. What no one knew then was that her downfall would become the foundation of my rise. At the time, I was just the quiet guy at the end of the block. I rented a modest duplex, worked remotely in commercial logistics, and kept to myself. Karen barely noticed me, except once, when she accused me of unauthorized breathing near a common area. I didn't argue. I just documented everything: emails, letters, notices, fines that weren't legal, liens that weren't real. When the HOA collapsed under investigation and Karen was sentenced to 7 years, the block assumed the story was over. It wasn't. It was just the opening chapter. During the investigation, properties started slipping through cracks. The HOA had taken illegal control of several homes, placing fraudulent liens and coercing elderly owners into temporary transfers that never transferred back. When Karen went down, the paperwork chaos scared off buyers. Banks hesitated. Investors stayed away. Values dropped fast. That's when I stepped in quietly, methodically, with attorneys and accountants who specialized in distressed assets. I didn't buy everything at once. That would have drawn attention. I bought one house, then another, through separate LLCs. I helped an elderly couple recover their deed and offered to purchase the home outright so they could move closer to their daughter. I acquired 2 rentals from an out-of-state owner who wanted out after the HOA scandal. Over 3 years, the block changed hands, not dramatically, not loudly, but legally and completely. By the time Karen was released on parole, I owned 11 of the 14 properties on Maple Crescent. The day she returned, I recognized her car immediately. Same dented silver sedan, same crooked license plate. It rolled in slow, like she expected applause. She stepped out, thinner, sharper, eyes scanning the street like a general reclaiming lost territory. Her smile didn't last long. The old HOA sign was gone. The manicured hedges she once weaponized had been replaced with native plants. And the no parking signs she'd installed without permits had vanished. She marched straight to the center of the block, knocking on doors. Most people didn't answer. A few stared through peepholes. One renter, new to the area, cracked the door just enough for Karen to launch into a tirade about violations and back dues. I watched from my porch, coffee in hand, as she rattled off authority she no longer had. 2 days later, I received her first letter. It was taped to my door, handwritten, aggressive. It accused me of illegal property modifications, unapproved landscaping, and hostile architectural changes. She demanded a meeting with the HOA board. I smiled, folded the letter, and forwarded a copy to my attorney. Then I waited. She showed up at my door that evening, pounding like she was still in charge. When I opened it, her eyes narrowed. She recognized me, but not fully. I had always been background noise to her. "You," she said, "you're violating community standards." I calmly asked which HOA she was referring to. "The Maple Crescent Homeowners Association," she snapped. "I'm reinstating operations." I invited her inside. She stepped into a house that had been renovated top to bottom, clean lines, new floors, framed certificates on the wall. Her gaze caught on the framed map of Maple Crescent, each property outlined in subtle ink. She didn't understand it yet. "I don't think you are," I said evenly. "The HOA was dissolved in court 5 years ago. You were barred from holding any fiduciary role." She scoffed. "Temporary." I handed her a folder. Inside were certified documents, dissolution papers, ownership records, lease agreements. Her face changed as she flipped through them. "You can't own this much," she whispered. "I can," I replied. "And I do." She left without another word. What followed was predictable. Karen filed complaints with the city, every single one rejected. She tried intimidating tenants, only to be served cease and desist letters. She accused me of harassment online, which backfired when court records resurfaced. Her parole officer paid her a visit after multiple reports of her violating no-contact clauses by impersonating authority. Still, Karen didn't stop. She began spreading rumors that I was exploiting renters, hiding code violations, running illegal operations. She stood on the sidewalk yelling about stolen neighborhoods and fake landlords. I documented everything. Cameras recorded it all. Witness statements piled up. Then came the final mistake. Karen attempted to enter one of my properties using an old master key. She claimed still worked under HOA authority. The key didn't fit. She broke a window instead. The police arrived quickly. So did her parole officer. That night, Karen was taken away, again not for years, but long enough to end any illusion she still held power. Trespassing, property damage, parole violation. A week later, I held a meeting on the block. Tenants, remaining homeowners, city officials. We talked about improvements, rent stabilization, community gardens, no shouting, no threats, just structure and transparency. People smiled in ways they hadn't in years. Sometimes I think about her the way power blinded her, how she mistook fear for respect. She believed authority was something you seized loudly. She ruled the block once through intimidation. I own it now through law, and that makes all the difference.